Okay, everybody, thank you for your time. This is Mark Scott. I'm going to go ahead and complete an IEP Anywhere training for you so that you're able to access those documents and provide quality services for students that are identified as having a learning disability in your classroom. So the first step I want to do is just open up Internet Explorer or any web browser program. Now up here in the Google search or any search engine, I just want to look up IEP Anywhere. And the first link that'll come up once you do your search is the link we're looking for, same goal, IEP Anywhere. So I click on this link, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to my favorites. That way I don't have to search for it every time. Add, and we're all set. Okay, now to log in, you're going to use your username is going to be your full Beaver local email address. Okay, I'm using Mr. Lowe's today so that we can, for training purposes. So you will not see all the students on my caseload. Now I'm going to go ahead and type in my password. And the nice thing is this is going to be your password that you use each and every day for your email. So when you update it through the school system, through the website, it'll automatically update on IEP Anywhere because that way you don't have to keep an extra password. We all know how much we don't like to come up with new passwords for every website. So it's simply your email password and your full email address to log in. Now I'm in. Now once I'm here, I'm going to see all students that I work with in my classroom. Now if you're missing students, I can add them to your caseload, or the intervention specialist can add them to your caseload. So you want to make sure that all the students that are identified as having an IEP are on your caseload. And also if there's students on your list that shouldn't be, just let us know and we can remove them. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the student I want to view their IEP and I'm working with. Of course, I made up a student here for training purposes. I'm going to click on this student. Now I'm in their IEP program and I simply click on IEP. Now we know as general education teachers we have a level of responsibility similar to that and equal to that of the intervention specialist to properly implement the IEP and the services for two reasons. Number one, to make sure, most importantly, to make sure that the students receiving quality services in our program has access to the general curriculum in your classroom and can be successful. And number two, we want to make sure that we remain compliant. And to do that, we have to be aware of the IEP and we have to implement the IEP. So now all Beaver local employees are going to be able to do that through this program. You'll have access anytime you want to the students that you work with. Once I'm here, there's three important parts as a general education teacher that I would want to know for each student's IEP. The first thing I want to do is I would want to view their profile. Then I would want to look at Section 6, the goals, and Section 7 would also be very important. Those are the accommodations and the special services that the student gets. There's a lot of different ways to view the IEP. The first way is I simply click here on IEP, and it creates a PDF of the document in its entirety. Okay, so now I can look at all parts of the IEP. You could print the IEP, or you could just simply read it electronically. It will take just a few moments here to download because it is a PDF, but here we go. Now I can view the IEP in its entirety. I can look at the dates, the future planning. Okay, get down. Here's the present levels of performance we had spoke about. We'll go into a little more detail here in a moment. And I get down to the goals and all those important parts of the IEP that we would want to familiarize ourselves with. Okay? So, now that you could print this, just remember, for confidentiality reasons, you want to make sure that you keep these locked up in a secure place in your classroom so that only you have access to it, and you want to make sure when you send it to the printer that you get there when it arrives so that they don't go anywhere else but beyond your hands and your eyes. So, the first section I mentioned is the profile. I want to make sure I get to know this student, and this can be done by reading Section 3. This is going to be full of great information that are going to help you provide quality services to the program, background academic information, background health information, attendance information, the student's interests, the student's strengths, and the student's the needed accommodations in the areas that the student needs assistance in. So we look here, and this is a blurb written by the teacher. It gives us information. Mark is a nice young man. He has been diagnosed with ADHD, needs cues to remain on task, needs extended time, and then it goes into some of the academics. He's been involved in intervention since grade 1. It gives us his OAA scores, his reading fluency rate. So lots of information you can use to provide good services to this guy in the class. Here we got into a speech and language evaluation. Now we're into a WISC, which gives us an overall IQ score, and then we get into basic academic areas. This gives us a grade level equivalent and a scaled score on all these academic areas. So boy, this would be very beneficial to you when you differentiate in your classroom. You know the student's present level of performance and you're able to better meet his needs. Here we look into specifics on those academic areas. For example, written expression. We know spelling skills are severely delayed, sentence skills are delayed, so this guy might need to be able to have his work edited, extended time on his writing projects, have his work edited by a peer or a teacher. He's going to benefit from all of those types of services. He may need to use assistive technology such as word processing for formal writing assessments. Those are the things I'm thinking when I look at his present levels. So that's Section 3, an area that you want to familiarize yourself with. Next is Section 6, and those are the goals. These are the things the student's going to work on day in and throughout the week in your classroom. The first goal here we see is a reading language arts goal, concepts of print, a comprehension goal. Now we look again, we have the student's present level of performance here, so we know exactly where he is at. That would be similar to what you see in the profile. And now here's the goal. This is what the student should be working on throughout the duration of the IEP. For example, this particular student, we want them to be able to demonstrate comprehension of material they have read or has been read to them by answering comprehension questions at 80% accuracy. Okay? Now, how we're going to get to that goal, we're going to use the objectives. The objectives are steps. These are listed below that help us reach the goal for that student. This student has an objective in reading fluency, to increase their reading fluency to 60 words per minute, and also in summarizing text, being able to give the main idea and details. So we know both of those objectives are strongly correlated to comprehension. All right, so that's one goal. And again, you could choose to print Section 6, which would be all the goals. You could PDF this one particular goal, or you could always PDF the entire IEP at any time. And then this will list the number of goals the student has, so I could click on Goal 2 and take a look at that as well. And it's a math goal. We won't go over it as detailed as we did the reading goal. The next section you need to look at very closely is Section 7. This is this specially designed instruction and the accommodations that the student gets. For example, we know this student gets direct instruction in basic reading skills to include phonics, vocabulary, context clues, the meaning of new words, and guided repeated oral practice. Those are the services this student should get on a daily and weekly basis to help them reach their goals. And also a math instruction, direct instruction in mathematics to include corrective feedback, repeated practice, skill development, and understanding the order of operations. So those are the skills, the direct instruction that you should be working with the intervention specialist to provide to that student on a daily and or weekly basis. Okay? Next, you'd want to look at accommodations. These are the accommodations that help level the playing field so this student can access the general curriculum and be successful in your classroom. So this particular student will receive the following accommodations. Directions and questions can be clarified when needed on written assignments, extended time on lengthy assignments, breaks during assessments, test questions and answers read aloud, opportunity to redo when he has failed, and partner reading on difficult or lengthy reading assignments. So these are the accommodations that can be used in daily instruction and assessments in your classroom. All right, let me show you also, this should correlate with Section 12, which are the accommodations to be given on the statewide assessments. Okay? As we can see, this guy will take the 7th grade reading assessment, have extended time, questions and answers read aloud, small group administration, and breaks during assessment. Now let me show you one thing before we complete here, and that would be a way for you to view the IEP that would be very beneficial. If I were in the shoes of a general classroom teacher, this would be a great tool. First I clicked print, and now I click IEP at a glance. So this is a bit of a shortcut. So again, that was print and then IEP at a glance. Now check this out. This is a great tool. Just takes a moment to PDF, and here we have it. Now this gives you the student's basic information, and now it gives me each goal and objective. There's goal 1 and the objectives. There's goal 2 and their objectives. And then I have my section 7 here, my specially designed instruction, and my accommodations, all on a nice 2 to 3 page document, and my accommodations that they'll receive on statewide assessments. So that is a great tool. The only thing you're missing here that you really need to know is the profile, but you get access to the goals and the specially designed instruction all in one short document. That's going to be very beneficial for you, so I encourage all teachers to take advantage of that feature. Again, I clicked print and IEP at a glance. At any time, I simply go here to IEP/ETR, and it takes me back to my home base. Okay, here is my caseload. Thank you again so much for your time. This is a program we're going to be using here at Beaver Local for a long, long time. I appreciate all that you do to provide quality services for our students who are identified as having learning disabilities. Again, the emphasis of today's training was to give you access to all students you work with that have an IEP, so that you can provide quality, appropriate services as outlined in the IEP, and number 2, so that we can remain compliant and we've all had a chance to view those IEPs and implement them appropriately. The only time students won't show up here is if they moved into the district and they are new to us and we haven't had a chance to do an annual review for them, and in that case we'll still have to use paper copies. But other than that, you should have all students that you work with on your caseload. If you ever have any questions or concerns about this program, please don't hesitate to contact me or an intervention specialist. We just want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to make sure that we're providing great services to our students. Thank you so much again for your time, and have a great day.